Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 163, our Turkey Day special. Hey, I thought maybe you might need a break from all that food, those games. Thought I'd give you a little things to think about over your Black Friday weekend. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I thank you all for bringing us up in the ratings. I also want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera. That's bedfordcamera.com. So you put my name in the discount as you check out. That's Moose. You'll not only get that 5%, not only will you get free shipping, most states you're going to get no sales tax, but they have some killer Nikon Black Friday specials. So we're talking about save, ching, ching, ching. So thank you, Bedford Camera, for helping us all out and for sponsoring the Moose Podcast. Now, I got something even more special for this podcast besides doing an extra one, the Turkey Day special. I'm really fortunate to have my best friend, great shooting partner, colleague in crime. I also call my son, Brent.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for having me here.
Hey, well, you kind of stuck with me since I'm at your house for Thanksgiving,
I know I
but
had to travel a long way to get here.
that's true. That's true.
hmm
Well, why is Brent here? Well, besides the fact that I really like, being with him, today's podcast is really about the Nikon Z. It's been 18 months that Brent and I have been using it,
That's about right. Yeah.
and I use it mostly for stills. Brent's mostly.
All video.
So we thought we'd talk a little bit about these cameras a year later, because when they first came out, not everybody's excited about mirrorless.
No, it's such a bummer because the mirrorless part itself, I'm still it's cool, but the real benefit to me is still that ring gap and the science that Nikon and a few companies have put in, but mostly Nikon has engineered to make these. It's given us a huge range of lenses now that we didn't have 18 months ago.
And yeah, and the quality of these lenses. So
Oh yeah.
one of the big pluses, back when digital was or mirrorless was first brought to my attention at the beginning of digital back in the late 90s. The promise was for a smaller camera, sharper lenses, and lower price. And Nikon's done a really great job on 2.5 accounts. It's really much smaller, especially when you look at the Z50. You've got lenses that are incredibly sharp, and then you've got a price. Well, compared to other cameras, it's about the same, if not less. But let's talk about lenses because Brent and I both use a 24 to 70,
All
but
the
I
time.
all the time.
Yep.
But I prefer the 24 to 70 2.8, and Brent prefers.
This is the f4. And both are very good, but with video, the big challenge is often getting things in focus and keeping things in focus. That's one of my favorite things with the Z this time around. It has an extremely well built, very fast, and most importantly, very quiet autofocus lock on and system. And you can do it in manual, you can do it in AF constant or AF single one time. You push the button once and it focuses once. But it's also got the full frame, full focus all the time. And there's tricks to using it. High contrast scenes work a little bit better. But for the most part, it's a new ability with video that we've not had, especially not in the small DSLR range, ever before the Z really. So it's the ability to just lock on and focus, and then combine that with the Z lens's ability to. It's got an amazing uh,
Gimbal,
on the gimbal, but I'm thinking
image stabilizer.
yeah, the image stabilization is amazing.
It
And
is.
that all together, that whole package makes it just very easy. You don't even need the gimbal half the time. If you're stable enough, it will just lock on and keep it going.
And that's the key of the 2470 F4 is that small, compact, allows Brent to make all that magic with the video that he just talked about and so much more that you can see on his website and in our documentaries. Now that 2.8 lens, it's not physically light, right? Because you've got that extra opening of that aperture. You also have a bit more controls when you're talking about you can, with the rings, manually focus, autofocus, change the aperture, all that like you would with a conventional lens. But a 2.8, that extra stop of light, for me, is really important, not because of the extra light itself, but the ability to limit my depth of focus so much more. And in Brent's video, he does that as much, but the video itself lends itself to seeing things even if you do wide open. But the still, as you all know, that really makes the subject pop.
And to be clear, I mean, you could use the 2.8, but you're now looking at a much more produced shot. You'd need a tripod, you'd need a set, you'd need things to be very, very planned out. Which, if you're running around chasing somebody, because they're running around fixing a plane, you can't be. You're not on a tripod. You're moving around. So yeah, there's big pros and cons to that size differential.
And you got to remember that both Brent and myself are very specialized in how we're shooting. The documentaries, we're not making full line theatrical presentations. We're talking about photographing real life on real life time, where you have to really work quickly sometimes, and you see things unfold, and you have to be
Got to
able,
be there.
got to
Gotta be
be
ready
there,
to go.
and you got to have gear ready to do it. So you might be saying, okay, so you got the Z, and what about the D850? It does a great job, and while the D850 is in our locker for both still and video, you'll find that Brent and I both prefer the Z for almost everything, still and video. Myself, I like the small size, I like the fun factor, and Brent, when it comes to Z and video,
Well, the 850, ironically, is the tripod camera now. It's the heavier one, so it gets the big lens. It sits there on the tripod, and it gets used quite a bit for, especially the macro lens, because I've got a very large macro lens. That's a very steady shot. It's got to sit and plant, so the weight there is helpful. But yeah, Z running around, you can't beat it.
so Brent and I, father and son, aren't too dissimilar when it comes to a dislike to tripods, and that it sets everything still. You don't have any fluidity in what's you're shooting and your problem solving. So it's not really surprising that we have that very much that hate of tripods in common.
It has its place in time, but it's not all the time.
So a year later, is there something about the Z for stills that for me nothing else can duplicate it? And they're very much so. And I've talked about it many times on the blog. I keep showing examples, and that is black and white photography. Because the black and white photography out of the Z, point blank, is spectacular. Now, the one big point of confusion is, in the Nikon world, they call black and white monochrome. And if you look up the word monochrome, it's anything but black and white. But that's what it is. Now you make sure you go to the website, you can go to my settings. You can see how I'm set up the camera to shoot black and white. Boom. Now the best part though about the Z is not only the fact that you can capture black and white out of the camera, print it, good to go, is that for the big challenge most people have is pre-visualizing black and white. So you make sure you go to that website and you can see how when you press the I button, the italicized I button, the back of the Z, you can instantly see in the back or in the viewfinder, however you're looking to use the camera, you can see that finished black and white photograph before you take it. That's a huge benefit, especially in the world of black and white. So that's one of the big things about the Z in the still world. I think it does like no other camera. Brent's got his same advantages with the Z for video.
Yeah, so the image stabilization is, like I was saying, it was great. My most recent post right now, actually, you'll see an air-to-air video filming a plane called a Black Gold. It's a 450 Stearman. Now, the behind the scenes on this shot, I was in a 185, a Cessna 185, in the back seat, shooting through the window. Now, that is a horrible position from a photographer's point of view, because that glass adds reflections, it adds dots and dust, and if you didn't clean it like I didn't, because I really thought it through, you've got a lot of mess to deal with. The great thing with the Z is with that image stabilization, I had one less thing to worry about, which is holding still. Now, previously I'd use a gimbal or a gyro to help stabilize the shot. With the Z, the image stabilization is so strong. Literally, with just the Z and the 2470, which is kit, I was able, from that rather bad seat, able to get an amazing video done and not just holding still either. I've got the plane moving through the shot, and there's also some other GoPros and whatnot to tie the scene together. But the real workhorse that makes the cool shots is the Z.
And you got to keep in mind that he doesn't have the expense of an extra gyro
Nope.
or a gimbal.
Nope.
He doesn't have to deal with the space limitation because
Huh.
there's places in aircraft you can't put a camera and all that stuff in there.
If I didn't have the camera monitors able to fold around, I mean, I'm folded up. The camera's almost in my face, folded to the right because I'm shooting out the right window, which is the hard way to go. Right? You want to go left. Nope. You have to go right. No space at all.
So he doesn't have to to deal with the weight, the expense, or that space. All that's done for you in the body. I mean, those are huge pluses.
Not to mention, speaking of weight, the gyro's another 10 pounds, right? And we've got a fully loaded plane, which we do. That's 10 more pounds of gas that the pilot doesn't want to spend, that we don't want to load, so on and so forth.
So you probably okay. So if we're talking about all these glowing things about the Z6 and Z7, what about the Z50? The Z50 is the latest thing in the locker. That's what Jake's been using for shooting the documentaries that he's doing fly fishing. Now, why has he got the Z50? Well, it's even physically smaller and more compact than the Z6 and Z7. Then he's got that little, I think it's a really great little lens, a 16 to 50, it's just, or 1635, excuse me. It's a beautiful lens on there, especially for Jake's busy working the rivers. He fly fishing, pulls that out. He can shoot his 4K video. Now, we don't have 18 months of time shooting the Z50, but I have no doubt it will, find its place. But for Brent and myself and our work and our documentaries and stills, the Z6, C7, there's a lot of them at the bodies in the locker because they do a great job. Now, with that said, is the Z perfect? I mean, that comes in all the time. And do you still like it? Well, here it is, okay? I'm personally not a perfect photographer. I have not taken the perfect photograph after 40 years. So I don't think I'm qualified to say it's the perfect camera. I don't know if it was perfect. I recognize it. Is it a great tool that is allowing us, Brent, myself, and Jake, to go out and get the shots we need, not only to tell a story, but to make a living? Oh, heck yeah. So in that regards, yeah, it's perfect. Could it be better? I don't know anything in life that you couldn't say would be better. So I think it's a trivial point to go on. Now, is there flexibility in the Z system for us to keep moving forward? And that's, I think, a really important part of looking at camera gear. I know I could say, yeah. How about you, B?
It's a good tool for the right job. I mean, it's a solid body.
Now, there's a lot of things that you could put to the Z, both for still and video, to expand it. Brent as the Z's got the N-Log, so he can use the Ninja, and he can go that painful route, at least as far as I'm concerned, of recording that massive raw video. And I'm here to tell you, we've done it in certain points where it works. But Brent, you can tell him better than me the pain in that.
Yeah, HDR videos, that's a pretty big mountain to climb. But, if you've got the client, you've now got the ability to get it, which is really the big deal. And that's what we're talking about.
And that's huge. And the Z7, the biggest print I've made so far is 8 feet by 6 feet. It looks spectacular, and the client was really happy. Now, again, this is from 18 months of pounding these cameras. Well, these cameras do not get much rest time. So, is there a problem with the batteries that people thought about 18 months ago? I'm not. The battery life for me is perfect. How about you?
The batteries are pretty good. The best part about the batteries, I hate to say it, but they're not that expensive. Just get more of them. Swap them out. It's not that big of a challenge.
And they're small, light. You have that.
Oh, they're tiny, they're light. I mean, it's just like having a bunch of double A's in your pocket, or just having a belt clip, swappable pack right there. I have 4 on my belt all the time when I'm shooting.
And probably the one thing that Brett and I would agree with, hands down, is when it comes to keeping that sensor clean, which, if you're shooting video, a piece of dust, that is
It's bad.
just unbelievable compared to a still, because you can't just clean it in a video like you can spot a still.
Mm-hmm.
But cleaning the sensor in the Z's, I'm telling you, it's probably the one thing that's just so simple. It is like a no-brainer. That shallowness of that sensor, getting the swab in there, it just makes it so much simpler and funner to use this camera. So, hey, Brent, 18 months later, still love the Z?
It's a good camera. I love it. Use it all the time. It's my first go-to for when I need video. It's the one to. It's the good way to go.
And just for people to understand, with that said, my primary camera is still the D5 for one reason. It's got a limitless buffer. Okay? It's a big camera, right? It is physically huge. It weighs almost 3 times the weight of a Z, and that's so it can have a limitless buffer. That said, if I don't need that, I'm grabbing the Z. So our primary bodies, Z6, Z7, with the Z mirrors, mirrorless lenses, it's just been killer. Well, Brent, the time has come and gone already. Thank you so much. It goes
Absolutely.
really fast. You guys have a great Turkey Day.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And remember to make every click your story.